If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started and have fun.
I'm so excited and I just can't fight it. I'm about to puff, pass, and I like it.
Welcome to Puff Puff Pass. This week we sit with Michael Malcolm and talk about a lot of really cool things about where he sees himself in the industry, what he's doing, what's going on. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey, yo.
Hey Kate, how you doing?
Hey, Michael Malcolm. How are you?
Good. How do I sound? Am I good?
You sound beautiful.
Okay, yeah. So that little thing in the beginning, okay, fine. I don't know what that was. It wasn't taking me to the screen, so.
Okay, good. It's like you don't have pants on. It's okay.
I have shorts on. It's good.
Okay. I do too. It's like really nice out today.
It is. Where are you?
I'm in like Philadelphia area.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got family around there.
Nice. I'll tell your family hello. Just tell me where they live. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. I don't even know.
So today I'm here with Michael Malcolm, Weed Travel Food.
Yeah.
WTF. Did you do that on purpose?
I did do that on purpose.
I'm
clever, aren't I? I'm clever, aren't I?
He's like, WTF.
You know what's funny about that though? I actually won't take the credit for that because both Weed Travel Food and WTF I really wasn't crazy about at first. We are live, right? We're recording, right? We're
Yep.
on? Oh, okay, cool. I want to just get started. No, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Lonnie Swain. She's a personality. She's a personality, period. But she was a DJ here in Chicago on a very popular radio station here. And she does a lot of things on her own now. But when I first told her about my blog, and I was like, oh, I was having a problem with naming it, and she was like, well, what is it going to be about? And I was like, I don't know, weed, travel, food. And she was like, that's it, weed, travel, food. And I was like, really? I was like, I don't know, it's kind of simple, She was like, no. She's like, and then you brand it WTF. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I see it. And, it kind of grew on me over time. And now people are like, oh, that's exactly what I love. And so now I like it a whole lot more. But that was definitely Lonnie.
That's awesome. It is a really cool name, and it's something easy to remember, which is important when you're a consumer of cannabis.
It does, right? Right. Yeah, I need to help my fellow stoners out. Yeah, for sure. Make it real nice and simple.
So, I mean, like, aside from the silliness, weed, it's a serious business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
So
serious business.
yeah,
If you can't tell.
Yeah, share what your plans are within the cannabis industry and some of the challenges you're facing.
Yeah, so I do a couple things in the cannabis industry. I have my blog, which we talked about, the Weed Travel Food blog. It's weedtravelfood.com. I also have a consulting company, WTF Consulting. And through there, what I do is actually I work with different cannabis companies of all sizes, everything from startups to MSOs, which are still startups, a lot of different ways. But I work with MSOs to startups on everything from product development to marketing, advertising to license acquisitions to community engagement. Um, Also, I'm a partner in Kranja Culture, which is a California cannabis brand.
Yeah.
I say it's California just because my partner's out there in California, and out there they have distribution, manufacturing, co-packing, and delivery licenses, and they are based out of LA. So I have that going on. I
Mm,
also teach at Olive Harvey College, one of the city colleges of Chicago. Here
cool.
in Chicago, yeah, I teach cannabis marketing and branding. So I have that going on. I'm also an applicant, a social equity applicant here in Chicago, going after dispensary licenses currently. And that's kind of like some of the that's what's going on like most immediate right now. The state is in the process of issuing licenses,
Hmm.
and there's been a lot of let's call them hiccups
Mm.
in along the way. Being nice, there's a lot of issues with the issue of licenses here. So yeah, so that's just kind of like a quick overview of all the different things that I go on. And I'm also a realtor. I can't throw that out. I'm a realtor. I've been selling and working in the real estate industry for over 10 years.
Cool. What kind of real estate?
I do residential.
Okay.
So yeah, but the really cool thing is now with everything going on with the industry here, licenses are being handed out. And so even though I don't work on the commercial in the commercial division, I already made partnerships with people in that division, and so I'm able to get referral deals. So I'm able to refer people who are looking like for cultivation or infusion places. I refer them out to our commercial division, and I
Yeah.
get paid, and I don't even have to do anything. Yeah, I
Awesome.
don't have to do the work. Yeah, if they help that person get a place, then I get paid, and I get paid a nice little chunk. But I'm actually taking that as a using that as an opportunity to actually learn some of the other parts of it as well too. So I don't have to do any work to get paid, but I do some of the behind the scenes work on the real estate, cannabis real estate stuff as well.
Yeah. If you ever find yourself having too much money, I know someone who you can donate it to.
Now we got to work, man. Somebody got to pay for these trips,
Right.
all these trips, and this food.
Right.
Yeah, got to get to it. And it's
Um,
weed, and it's weed.
yeah, seriously, weed's very expensive.
It's very,
Uh,
especially here in Illinois.
so what made you take the plunge into the very interesting lifestyle that you've kind of created for yourself?
Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment. It's cool. It's like
All
so
right.
it's
No.
interesting and unique. Hello.
Hey.
Hi, we're back.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. I think that was on my calls was trying to coming through. I don't know why.
Oh, that was
My do not.
definitely it was all your fault.
I know my do not disturb was on too, so I don't know why that.
Well, guess who's
Okay.
off my Christmas list? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Sorry
kidding.
about that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I know what you asked. Yeah, how did I get started? Yeah, so I've always been a fan of the plant. Um, I have a long history with the plant. Growing up in my neighborhood, like one a good friend of mine always got a lot of really good bud in,
Mhm.
and like I was always kind of like I've always had a really strong sense of like smell and taste. So always been a foodie,
Yeah.
and like this thing, I really feel like a lot of well, it does, your taste buds correlate directly whether you're talking about food or cannabis, so just the way I've always been a fan of really good food. I'm the same way about my terps when it comes to the flower,
Yeah.
that I'm smoking, and I've always been a flower child, I've always been super into the just some of the best bud that we had. And I would a lot of times help my friend kind of go through his different packs and say, yeah, I like this one, I don't like this one. So, that's kind of like my longer background with it. But a few years ago when uh, I saw legalization on the horizon here in Illinois. I thought of maybe doing a blog, a weed travel food blog to kind of Um, to kind of it's just a way to kind of like show what's going on in the market, shine a light on the industry, and kind of find my own way in.
Yeah.
And I chose a blog only because my girlfriend and I, we travel around the world a lot. We eat at a lot of restaurants and stuff, go out all the time. And so a lot of my friends and family had already been encouraging me to do a blog, to do a travel blog or do a food blog, something like that. And I was
Right.
like, I'm not really a blogger. But again, I saw cannabis coming on the rise, and I was like, well, maybe if I could do it like cool like that, and kind of like I told you, my friend before, I was like, what if I did a blog? What if I did like a weed travel and food blog? Like I said, I know it's very direct and kind of like right to the point, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because people were literally saying do a food blog, and then some other people say do a travel blog, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Like no, neither one of those are hitting home for me. But I was like, weed, travel, and food. I'm like, that could work. And so really, what really encouraged me to do it, I can find a number of different ways how getting reinforced. But I was kind of doing my research. I was like, well, what's a weed blog even look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? Who does something like that?
Right.
And a little bit of background also is again I'm a realtor here in Chicago, and one of my longtime clients and a really good friend of mine went out to Colorado in like 2013, let's say, and got into the legal cannabis industry. And he had been telling me to come all the way to come out there since then.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't have to go out to Colorado to smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of
Right.
like blowing it off. I'm like, yeah, no, that's cool. Because again, I always had great weed here in Chicago. I'm like, I don't care about going out there to smoke. But in in 2018, I really saw this as being like a real possibility. So I started researching, and I came across an article in GQ magazine that said Al Harrington wants to be NBA's next marijuana mogul. And I'm like, huh. And so I read the article, and in the article, he keeps talking about Colorado. He's like, Colorado is where the culture is. Colorado is where the culture is. Colorado is where the culture. And I remember thinking, like, Colorado, like everybody knows the cannabis culture is California, like that. It makes sense. Like, why is it Colorado? Uh, but that made me think of my client who had went out to Colorado a few years prior.
Right.
So I give my friend a call, and I'm like, hey, how's business? He's like, oh man, everything's great. We're in Colorado, we're in Oregon, we're in California, we're in Michigan. I'm like, damn, bro, like what happened? Like, holy shit, y'all blew up like so fast. What happened? And he's like, well, I don't know if I told you, but my business partner is Al Harrington.
Oh shit.
Yo, like when he's telling me this, Kate, when he's telling me this, I still had the picture. I still had the article up on my laptop. Like it was literally like I was reading the article. He kept saying Colorado in the interview. That made me pick up the phone, and I said, bro, Al Harrington, Biola, that's your company. And he was like, yeah. I said, bro, I'm reading about you right now. What
That's
the I'm like,
crazy.
what the fuck? Yes.
That is like, if that's not a fucking sign.
So that's to answer your question. What pushed me to go forward and actually like really do it? That's what it was.
Yeah. It
Like
was
I
in
was
your
like,
face.
yeah, it was crazy. And like I said, he was a really great friend. So he, I was, after I picked my jaw up off the floor, I booked a flight to Denver and went out there. He's like, come out here. He's like, I told you years ago, come out here.
That's
I went
awesome.
I went out there. Yeah, they kind of gave me a crash course on the industry, and then like I said, a lot of other things, a lot of like just freaky things happened, like the craziest things ever happened that kind of like just kind of reinforced that. But it kept happening, and it keeps happening. That's the
Yeah.
other thing about it. Like even now, every couple of days, something really odd to happen. I'm like, man, what's the chances? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. And so yeah, I definitely feel like I'm walking in my purpose right now, even
Hell
though
yes.
yeah, some things aren't always smooth.
True. So, okay, different question. I'm gonna
Mm,
switch it up to something light.
sure,
How do you know where to access weed when you're traveling, or do you just like pack your own weed?
that's a great question.
Thanks.
Um, Both. Well, the truth is that prior to probably 2018, I didn't take my weed with me. So the way I would find it, like let's say if I go to Jamaica, right? I love Jamaica.
Mhm.
Everybody knows, it's easy to get weed in Jamaica. But how do you get good weed in Jamaica?
Right.
Right? Like it's easy. Weed is everywhere in Jamaica. Well, a lot of these places, it's everywhere. But how do you know you can get you some good bud? So this is kind of my strategy. You can take it for how you want. But this is kind of how I do it, right?
Hmm.
I usually will wait until I get to my place. Like let's say I'm staying on a resort, right?
Yeah.
I'll get to a resort, and then I will ask the bill, the hop, like whoever is handling baggage. I usually ask them where the weed is,
Huh.
and I wait for the people that are handling the bags to actually bring it to my hotel room because that's when you can have a better conversation with them. One, and then also I know where you work at, bro. You know
Right.
what I mean? Especially if I'm on a resort, I'm gonna see you tomorrow or the next. Like
Yeah.
I'm here for a week. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
don't think you're gonna run off. And so that's what I do. And I usually start with a low number. Like here's $20. Let me see what it looks like. Here's 20. But if you're gonna run off with $20, I'd rather you run off with $20 than $100. They always want to start big. I start
Right.
low. Here's $20. Show me what it looks like. Bring it back. And then this is the other thing I do. When they bring it back to me, I always refuse it.
Why?
I almost always refuse it because it's almost never the good stuff that they send
Okay.
you in the very beginning. It's always like, they just trying to see, a lot of times they're just trying to see what you're willing to accept. And
Really?
so it's been my experience. A lot of times, I'll go places and they'll bring me something and I'll say, nope, there's no good. I remember one of the last times this was happening was actually in 2018. I was in Cartagena, Colombia,
Hmm.
and I met a guy who was working. We had bought some tours. We had bought some tours to go like
Yeah.
sightseeing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I knew I was gonna see him the next day, right? So I'm like, "Where's the weed?" You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Oh, okay, I'll give you some weed." So he went, got some bud, brought it back. I was like, "Nope, no good." He's like, "That's all we got." I said, "Well, I don't want it then. Like this is
Right.
all you got. Then I don't want it." He's like, "Okay, let me go back." He went back. He came back with something different. It was better. You
Uh,
know.
huh.
It's just it
Did you
happens.
have did you have your hand on your hip and were you tapping your foot? Like
Not quite.
I would have been like,
Yeah, no, I mean, I know, like, again, it's bartering is what most people do outside of the states anyway. It's way more common, so like, again, as a traveler, a lot of times it's almost like a sport in different places. So like
yeah.
I'll negotiate down just to see what somebody's lowest number is, and then I'll just give them more because like my money, you know what I mean. Money goes is a dollar to them is way more than it is to me.
Right.
So I usually pay more than what I even negotiate for, but
Okay.
not when it comes to weed, of course.
Right. Right. I understand.
The weed, I play different rules with, but yeah. So no, it wasn't no big deal.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
That's really actually cool. These are things I never knew, so it's kind of like good to know because next time I plan on bartering in Costa Rica,
Yeah, Costa
I'll
Rica, same
know.
thing. I've been to Costa Rica, same thing. No, I use the same. I always do that. Yeah, when
I'll
somebody
know.
brings something, I say that's no good. Bro, I'm from Chicago. That's my don't. I'm not smoking this.
Right? I
That's
would
my
have
line.
never even, I would have been like, okay. It would have given me like a pine cone. I would have been like, thanks.
I hope not.
No, just kidding.
That's what they give you in Illinois when you buy shop at the dispensaries now. Give
Right.
you a fucking pine cone.
So like speaking of like the dispensaries and everything, like now that weed's
Uh-huh.
being legalized in so many states,
Uh-huh.
what do you think the future is for legal weed versus black market weed?
Mm. I mean, the future is that, I mean, I would say that, uh, traditional market, the days are numbered, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the writing is on the wall. When Amazon says they want to get in, like, that's how you know. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I think just because of the nature of the plant, I mean, it is a plant after all,
Hmm.
right? Anybody can grow weed. I'm actually, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm looking at a weed plant in my windowsill. You
You're
know,
harvesting crops, are you?
no, like so. I think there will always be an underground market, but I also think that ultimately it's going to go as it should. It should be a legal thing. The most important thing is how do you make sure that the industry is inclusive,
Hmm.
and how do you make sure that we get these people out of prison, and then also how to make sure that the culture stays, that the plant is looked after and it doesn't become this over commercialized thing, which is already starting to become, something that I see working in multiple different markets because I work in several different markets across the country. And so, like, the plant is now the super commercialized thing where, compassionate care is not a term that you hear much of anymore, especially when markets go adult use like Illinois did in 2020. We were a medical market for 5 years, I
Hmm.
believe, from 2015 to 2020. And then once 2020 came, a lot of the patients here will tell you that medical patients here will tell you that the quality of the cannabis has gone down, the quality of the customer service has gone down, and it's just not what it was even 2 years ago here in Illinois. So that's the other thing. Like, I think that the market is definitely going to become more, the industry, I should say, is going to become more, socially acceptable,
Right.
as it becomes legal across the country. But then, there's a flip side to that where, like the culture of cannabis and the, everything else that comes with that, is going to have to be protected, and people are going to have to stand up and fight, fight for their rights and fight for, whatever it is that's important to them. And there's a when it comes to cannabis, there's a lot of different issues. Like I named a few. Patient rights are an issue.
Hmm.
Social justice and getting people out of prison. That's an issue.
Hmm.
Social equity in the industry itself is an issue. So
Hmm.
there's a number of things that people can be fighting for.
What do you feel like the future of people who are imprisoned? I mean, like, do you think that they'll get out? I feel like there's no reason why that they're still in, even in states where it's legalized.
Yeah, well, that's just because uh, I don't want to talk down on anyone who is really doing the work, and I know there's a number of people out there that are really doing the work.
Hmm.
But what I'm seeing, whether it comes to getting people out of prison or states creating social equity programs that are truly equitable, I don't see them being all that serious. It's more lip service, or they do enough.
Hmm.
They do enough, and everything is negotiation. Again, I'm a realtor. I was just having this conversation with somebody. I negotiate for a living. I've been doing it for 10 years,
Yeah.
so I get
Yeah.
negotiations. No one is ever happy, but like you said, some of the stuff is like really obvious, right? Like,
Right.
a lot of people in prison for cannabis in legal states. It doesn't make any sense. Or I'll give you even another one. There's a lot of people who don't qualify uh, for social equity in states where that have social equity because they sold too much cannabis.
Hmm. Doesn't
you
even make any
know,
sense. Yeah.
it doesn't make any
It
sense,
makes no sense.
right? Like, if you could go to jail, like, what does it matter how much you sell? Like, so you can only sell a little bit and get into the industry. Like, what? It just doesn't make any sense. And that's what
No.
I'm saying. And that's really the truth of the matter is the more you go down the rabbit hole of, like, trying to get legislation written and try and seeing it through and see what happens, and things get voted on and then things get put into action, you see how much compromise there is,
Right.
even when people have good intentions. And you see also how toothless a lot of these arguments are, or how thoughtless a lot of these people are who claim that they want something that, or I should say maybe disingenuous a lot of these efforts are when you actually see the way it plays out in the end.
It's just
hate to be a bummer on it.
no.
It
I'm
sounds
like
like a no
got
road.
my blood pressure high. No, I'm
I
just kidding.
know. No, that's a thing. Yeah, no. I mean, for people who live, I'll give you a great example. Again, what's going on here in Illinois. Um, we have there were three ways that you can qualify for social equity here in Illinois.
Mhm,
One way was that you lived in a certain area. I believe it's 5 out of the last 10 years or 10 out of the last 15 years, something like that.
mhm.
Had to live in a certain area that the state identified as disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. Another way that you could qualify for social equity is if you were actually arrested for cannabis in the past. And the third way that you can qualify for social equity, um, we actually call it the slave master clause, is
Mm.
your company can qualify for social equity if you promise to hire 51% of your employees that live in one of those disproportionately impacted areas.
Wow.
So yeah, exactly. So you are what state are you in again?
Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Yeah, you're in PA. Yeah. So you could create a company and say that you're going to hire people. You agree to hire people from a certain area in Chicago, and now all of a sudden your company is now a social equity applicant.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm
There's so many
saying.
politics involved. It's insane.
And then to make it not only that, to talk about politics, right?
Uh,
The only way that you could qualify 100% for the licenses here in Illinois is if a veteran owned 51% of your company.
Jeez. There's so many like rules. It's like they want to have this legalization process, and they want people, you think you can prosper, but it's like good luck getting to that point.
Yeah. And so, like, one of the things, so what we're going to see here in Illinois is the majority of these licenses that are going to be given out are going to actually be given out to veteran owned companies. And
Yeah.
if anyone, and again, I hate that I have to say this, because I have to say this now in every interview or podcast that I do, is I don't have anything against the vets.
Yeah.
I have nothing against vets. My father's a Marine and got several active
Those
duty service members in my
damn
family.
vets.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't want to, because it sounds like I'm railing against the vets, but it doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't,
No.
because any veteran will tell you, and I've had several tell me, that if you were arrested for cannabis when you were younger, the chances are they wouldn't even accept you in the military,
Yeah.
or you would get kicked out of the military, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even qualify for this program.
Makes no sense.
Like, it is stupid. It's the
Makes no sense.
dumbest thing. Yeah, it makes no sense at all. Or even the fact that a large amount of these people are going to qualify for social equity based off of where they live, because they live in a certain area, right?
Yeah.
I qualify for social equity because I was actually arrested for cannabis back in, I think I was like 19, 20 years old. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually got caught with some weed, right? So that's how I qualify for social equity. But the majority of people that are going to win these licenses qualify for social equity based off of where they live. And Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, just like Chicago and just like most major cities, most of those neighborhoods have been gentrified over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So the people that live in these disproportionately impacted areas that were identified by the state of Illinois, that had this historical record of, discrimination or whatever,
Yeah.
like, they don't even look like how, you know what I mean? Like, those are not hoods.
Yeah. No, they're
Those
not.
are like,
They're
yeah,
not anymore.
like Cabrini Green
Yeah.
is one of those neighborhoods. The Cabrini Green was a notorious housing project neighborhood. There are $1 million condos over there. There's no
Oh,
projects over there
absolutely.
anymore. Yeah, like, it's all gone. But that's now a disproportionately impacted area. And again, I sell real estate around there, so I know what the people make
Right.
that live in these neighborhoods, and I see the map of how you qualify. Now, again, this is not saying anything against the people who use those rules to their advantage to win, right? They only did what the state allows, and that's the point.
Right.
Right? Like, these people, if the goal is to get people that were directly affected by the war on drugs in the industry,
Hmm.
right, then get those people in the industry,
Right.
right? And I don't know if they need to have a set aside. That's one of the things I'm thinking of now. In real time, as I'm talking to you, maybe the state of Illinois needs to set aside some licenses for people like myself. I know it sounds very self-serving, but it's like, again, I take offense to it that I don't have a license, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the majority of people that have licenses now never even went to jail for weed, and some of them they don't even live in the areas, right? It
Right.
does like it's just
It just
it's a
is that
mockery.
damn state being so fickle.
Mm,
I mean, like, there's so much going on. It's like hard for me to even wrap my head around because it's all politics and it's just like such a money making industry and everybody wants their hand in a part of it. And I just feel like it kind of this is just popping into my head now. Now that I'm thinking about it, that it's going to be regulated
hmm
and controlled by the state, the government. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe our little black market people will be the underdogs who help save us because eventually, like, I don't know, it's like taxes alone that you spend from a dispensary are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, if he, I know you've been following my Instagram, but if you see my
Yeah.
Instagram, I almost never, unless I'm out of state or working with a company directly, I
Hmm.
rarely show dispensary products. I still
Yeah.
show love to the underground scene.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a lot of friends still in that area, and so I rather show their products off. Everybody knows I work in the industry. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here in Illinois, these companies are making 200. Illinois last month did over $200 million in sales. Over
Yeah.
$200 million in sales in Illinois for 1 month.
It's
They
just
don't need my help promoting anything.
pisses me off.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, and that's what I'm saying. So that's why I don't really show like dispensary products. I used to when I was trying to get myself on and popping and get popular. I was showing that was like my strategy of how I kind of like became like a weed dude here in Chicago because
Yeah.
I went in 2018. I went and got a medical card because I qualified for a medical card, and I started going around to all these different dispensaries across Chicago. At the time, again, cannabis didn't become adult use until 2019.
Hmm.
Sorry, 2020, and it was really hard to get a medical card in 2018.
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of shops, even medical shops. So people didn't even know that you could legally buy weed in Chicago. And I'm not gonna say I was the first person to do it because I'm sure there was other people, but I was, my account grew the fastest. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Off of me showing different products around the city, and I got cool like that. Like I went around to all the different dispensaries, met all the different bud tenders, met the different managers, bought all the products, showed people what was available. You know what I mean? Like that's how I like got myself going. But then once I actually got a deal and started working with these companies and kind of like saw how like they like the man behind the curtain, I was like, I don't think I want to support these people anymore.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I don't think they need my help anymore. I think they're
No,
all right.
it's crazy. So
Yeah.
this question just popped into my head.
Yeah.
When when you travel, do you sorry, I hop around a lot. I'm like
No,
80
it's fine. I love
ADD
it.
brain.
Hey,
So
we travel food. Yeah, look,
yeah,
I can
true.
go back and forth. Yeah.
So when you travel, do you typically choose a resort or do you kind of try to find places that are off the grid or do you just like make sure that you visit, sorry, that was my dog. Make sure you visit, she always fucking intrudes. Um Places on the like islands that you go to or
Yeah,
places.
so that's a great question actually. So I do a little bit of both. I love a resort, really, really love a resort. Obviously, like COVID changes a lot of that. So
Mhm.
I traveled last year, even during the pandemic. So last October, I went for my girlfriend's birthday. We went to Jamaica.
Mhm.
Jamaica is one of my favorite places. We gotta keep on mentioning it, but
Yeah.
I've gone a lot of places around the world. Jamaica is still one of my favorite places. Um, Went to Jamaica, but we chose Jamaica for a reason,
Mhm.
because
Yeah, can you
Jamaica,
elaborate on why also within the story?
yeah.
I want to know
Sure. Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Specifically, why we chose Jamaica to travel to Jamaica during the pandemic, right? Jamaica was taking COVID in October of last year way more serious than they were here in the States. It's
Mhm.
just way more serious here.
Yes,
Um,
everywhere was.
yeah, and we also decided to, even though we love all inclusive resorts, again, COVID, who wants to eat at a buffet right now?
Right.
So we rented a private villa that was in a like secluded little sleepy little vacation town on the opposite side of the island that we had never stayed in before. And we rented a car and I drove on the opposite side of the road. It was the first time I ever drove on the opposite
Whoa.
side of the road anywhere.
Is it
Yeah,
trippy?
yeah, it was super trippy. I
I
was
would have been
low
so
too.
scared.
Yeah, that shit was hard. And look, I didn't like just drive a couple of blocks. I drove 2.5 hours
Bam.
from Montego Bay to Treasure Beach, which is a little town that we stayed in, which is on the south side of the island. Like 2.5, 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
Um, so no, I drove. I like really drove through Jamaica. Um, but we did that on purpose. And again, we love staying at a resort, but the serenity is the only word I could think of that we got staying at that place. And again, if anybody listens to this and wants to see what I'm talking about, you can go check it out on my Instagram. My highlights have I do highlights of all of my travels. So
Yes.
you can go if you're interested in just seeing any of the places and seeing where I travel to. You go check my highlights out and click on it, and then I show a lot of different stuff from where I'm staying. You can see like the Airbnb that we stayed in. We again, it was a private house. We had a private beach. Like we had our own beach, and where we were, I don't know if it's because it was COVID or just because it was just so quiet. We didn't even have like boats and like jet skis or like parasailers going past. It was like we didn't see anybody, like going
Yeah.
past. It might be like one boat that went past like all day long. It was just super peaceful. So I love a great resort. I've also stayed at some really, really cool resorts. Like I stayed at a really cool resort in Bali,
Hmm.
which had like beach service, which is amazing if you ever stayed at a resort that has beach service.
Mm.
Um, it was all inclusive resort, with beach service, which you can just imagine. You just stay on the beach and just get trashed all day. And just they had like you just wave your flag, like that was something that we had a flag that we would wave. You wave your red flag for service, and they would just come and bring us food, bring us whatever we wanted. They're like just bringing it. So yeah, that was cool too. So a little bit of both, and then I also like besides just being super secluded or doing like a resort thing. I also like a little bit of adventure as well. Like in 2018, I took my mom and my girlfriend to Tanzania for their
Ooh,
birthdays, and we did a luxury safari.
cool.
Yeah, it was super dope, super dope. We went through 4 different national parks, Serengeti included. Like we slept overnight in a tent in the Serengeti. It was
That's
like
sick.
yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a week long safari. And then, so we did a week long safari. And then we flew to Zanzibar, which is an island right off of the mainland of Africa, East Africa. And we did a week in Zanzibar at like an all inclusive resort
That
to kind of,
sounds so fun.
yeah, all of that is in my stories too. Again, in my highlights, if anybody wants to see what that looks like.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
it was
what's
super
your
dope.
Instagram handle?
Mike G the God. Mike,
Yeah.
MikeGDagod. Yeah, you can also follow We Travel Food as well. I post a lot of stuff there.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm not done yet. I had like one more question.
No, no, for
Maybe two
sure.
more questions, but
No,
we were
ask
talking.
away. Love it.
Um, so what's the grossest thing that you've ever gotten out, like when you ordered something, or like the craziest, weirdest dish?
Not something I ordered, but the weirdest thing I've ever eaten would have to be iguana eggs. Oh, we were
Iguana.
actually, yeah, like, so I was in Cartagena, Colombia, and we were on our way to the beach, and our tour guide was taking us to the beach, and he was like, "Hey, you guys want to try some iguana eggs?" And we like okay, like we thought he had something like in his bag. He pulls the car over on the side of the road and goes and buys, I guess, the iguana egg from a guy that was like standing on the side of the road selling them in these brown paper bags.
So
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah. And he gets back in the car and he's like, okay, you want to try one? I was like, oh, you're like this fucking. So of course I tried one. It
Did it
was
taste like an egg?
it was disgusting.
What does
It
it
was the
taste
worst.
like?
It was definitely the texture. It was like the texture of the inside of a boiled egg. So like the yolk. Imagine the
Okay.
yolk is boiled. So
Yeah.
it's like a
Dry.
yeah, like a dry,
Dry
and it was
chalky.
yeah chalky, right? And it was inside of like a little thin sack. I don't know how to
Ew.
describe it. Yeah, it was
Ew. I'm just
gross.
thinking of like a testicle.
Yeah. Oh,
Ew.
please. Oh, yeah. It was gross. It
That
was
is
disgusting.
disgusting. And
Yeah,
what
you asked.
ugh, I know, but I'm gonna like switch it up and ask what like your best meal that you've ever had was.
Oh my God, my best meal that I have ever had. That is impossible. Because you know, I love to eat, and Chicago has so many amazing restaurants.
Yeah.
So, um, I'll
Okay,
go with.
so if you could like order one of the meals that you've ordered recently
Okay, I was
right
gonna say
now.
I might as well just tell you what I just had because
Yeah.
it's yeah, it was good enough. Last week I went to one of my favorite restaurants that I haven't been to in over a year, here in Chicago called Duck Duck Goat.
Mm-hmm.
It's owned by Chef Stephanie. Is there the I don't want to say lizard. I don't think that's how you pronounce her name. I forget her. It's something like that though. It's really close. It's like
Yeah.
Izzard, the lizard. It's something like that. She's a well-known chef. I know I'm like embarrassing myself now. I really should
No,
know
no,
her name
no.
because
It's so
she has like
funny.
four restaurants like right in the same area here. She's super well. She's Girl and the Goat is another one of her really well-known restaurants. Girl and the Goat, Little Goat Diner. But Duck Duck Goat is her take on like Asian cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had like um these beef and bone marrow pot stickers that were
Mm-hmm.
super good, and these duck and goat spring rolls that were delicious, and duck fried rice,
I'm just looking at their
and
menu. I'm so
oh
hungry.
man. If oh yeah, I was gonna say I haven't even posted that food from this past weekend yet.
I want it all
Yeah,
over my
it
body.
it's so not literally
It looks so good. It looks
like
so good.
yeah, the pot stickers are just super. This is the most delicious thing ever. And then they have something called like a mispronounce it Chong Queen chicken, something like that. It's like Szechuan style, like these
Mm-hmm.
fried chicken pieces, and they put chilies and shishito peppers in it. And oh man, so good. And I eat it with the duck fried rice.
It
Yeah,
looks.
super delicious. But like some other places too, like um, if I like one of my other places, favorite places to eat is the Bay. I love like the Bay Area,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of vegan friends as well. So like when I'm out there in California, I eat a lot of vegan food, like as you do in California. A lot of vegan
Yeah.
places. And there's a place I cannot think of the name of it. It's in San Francisco. It is a vegan sushi place, and it is by far the best sushi I have ever had in my life,
Really?
and it is 100% vegetables.
Wow.
The shit is crazy, and it looks like sushi. it
That's
looks like
wild.
it looks like regular, like it looks like salmon or something that they put on there, and they're like, no, that's I don't know, like a carrot or something. I don't know, tomatoes. That's what it was. Yeah, like they had the way they made their tomatoes. It looked like salmon, and so they were making these rolls, and you were thinking wow, that really looks like salmon. No, it's tomato. Um,
I
yeah,
wonder.
so that's a really good place.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's not that many of those in San Francisco, and I'm sure they're the top rated place though.
Yeah.
That place is really good. And then there's one other place I got to give a shout out,
Yeah.
another vegan place, to the Butcher's Son. I do remember them. They are in Berkeley, California.
Hmm.
It's a vegan like deli, if such a thing actually exists, right? It's a vegan like sandwich shop, and they have all
Okay.
these different types of sandwiches. Yeah, and they have the best portobello sandwich like ever. It's this portobello sandwich that they have there, and it is amazing. They have like this vegan mac and cheese and vegan potato salad. I guess it is like
I'm
it's
sold.
yeah, no, it's crazy, crazy, crazy good.
I love food so much. Oh my goodness. Um, So, oh yeah, what the fuck is
Mm.
CBG?
CBD. So
No, not
CBD.
CBD, CBG, as in
Oh, CBG. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. What
CBG.
is that?
CBG is another cannabinoid. I don't know how to exactly describe it. I know it's one of like the new. It's like the new hot thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've heard a lot of promising things about CBG from different people in the industry that are working with it to develop new products.
Hmm.
But basically, something I'm hearing about it. I'm sure somebody is probably going to correct me and tell me I'm wrong on this. But from what I understand right now, is CBG is one of those things where you can actually somehow produce both THC and CBD from it. Like it's a way that you can transform it. Again, well, I'm saying it the right way, but I
That's okay.
know that it is something that is people are breeding for it now. Because I think again, one of the exciting things about the industry is that it's so much we don't know about the plant,
Yeah.
right? The cannabis plant has hundreds of different cannabinoids
Hmm.
in it, and we don't know about the majority of them. We don't even know about the ones that we know about, right? We know about THC, but we don't have any really idea about its long-term effects. I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of know, but not really. Same
Right.
thing with CBD, Delta 8, like that shit. Like we really don't know. Delta 8, Delta 9 is what gets you high. Delta 8 is like weed light. That's the loophole right now. It's a lot of that. I'm sure you're seeing that like all over the country.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that out there where you are?
Yeah.
Delta
Yeah.
8 products and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, like I've read about it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, well, they actually have a couple of shops here in Chicago that are selling Delta 8 infused products,
Mm.
which sounds insane to me. Because again, a lot of these people they aren't actually processing or making the Delta 8 themselves; they're buying it. And
Yeah.
I think that we one thing that I'm really big on is again, I love this industry for what it is, and for what it was before I had an opportunity in it, and so I'm very protective of it. And I'm really worried about a lot of these CBD shops and selling Delta 8 and stores infusing food with Delta 8 because or any type of off-brand CBD because the regulations are on testing and things are so much lower.
Right.
I'm really worried about people putting this stuff into products and not really understanding, like I said, what the long-term effects are, or if the Delta 8 that they're putting into their food or drinks, if it's even of quality.
Right.
Because again, if you can just buy something across from a different country, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
you can
I
buy it in bulk and it's cheaper, like anything,
I
you got to be worried about that.
I just feel like Delta 8 seems like it's something like almost like synthetic version of like THC or something. Like it just doesn't seem like it's like I don't know, it seems processed somehow.
Yeah, no, I mean Delta 8 it's no different between I've been in labs where I've talked to the chemists and talked to the biologists stuff about how all this stuff works. And
Yeah.
just like anything else, the same way that they can extract the THC out of something and, take out the CBD, they can do the same thing between the Delta 8 and the Delta 9. That's all it is. And a lot of this stuff, Delta 8 is, and I should say Delta 9 is just a lot, it isn't as much of it in a hemp plant. So most of the people who are processing cannabis to get Delta 8 are going to do it from hemp because they
Mm.
don't have to take out as much THC, Delta 9. I'm sorry, THC. Now I'm confusing myself. Yeah. So
Right.
they don't want to have to take out as much Delta 9 THC. So they'll use a hemp plant, which doesn't have as much Delta 9 in it. And then they can extract it and get mostly Delta 8. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody getting all upset with me about what I'm saying, but it's just the truth is that it's not as regulated as strictly as, and you can buy it from different countries. So I'm a little worried about people who are not in the industry and maybe don't care as much about the science behind it all,
Mm-hmm.
right? People
Right.
who are looking to sell what they consider to be a new product. Yeah, like I said, there's stores all around. There's two or three of them I can think of right now in Chicago that are selling Delta 8 infused products to people, and people, the general public does not, they don't know what Delta 8 is. All they
Right.
see is THC infused brownies, THC infused. They don't know Delta 8 from Delta 9. You know,
Right.
they don't know, they know nothing about regulations and things being tested. All they see is, ooh, I can buy, I can buy Delta 8 and I don't have to show my ID, you know, or I don't have to jump through the hoops that I have to jump in when I go to a dispensary, and I can get a buzz.
Right.
Because so many people out here just looking for a buzz, and like they don't care. You know, they're like, oh, okay, yeah,
Right.
Delta 8. That's like I'm all
Those
for it.
damn teenagers and their
I wish it
damn
was on.
rock music.
Look, I know. I'm gonna tell you, $200 million worth of weed sold in Illinois. It was not just teenagers.
I know. I know it. I know it.
No, I know. I said, yeah, for sure. No, it's just it's one of those things. Again, like most people don't care about that, but if you really want to operate in the space and you really want it to be around for a long time, because this, just like they could give something a give something out, they can take it away too,
Yeah.
right? You gotta remember, this is not federally legal, and so
Yeah.
the feds could always clamp down on all this stuff. I doubt they would, but they could, in theory, you know, clamp down on a lot of stuff, or even the states. You know, when you leave things up to states' rights, you know, again, some of the things that, you know, I'm sure you guys in PA are going to have to worry about once you guys fully come online is a lot of these things that we'll be talking about,
Yeah.
as well as things like THC taxes. You know, like even here in Illinois, if your product has more than 35% THC in it, you get taxed at a higher rate.
Mm-hmm. There goes my blood pressure again, Michael.
I know. It's like, why though? It doesn't make sense. Like you don't tax at a higher rate on hard liquor than you do beer. Like, what does it matter? Like, it's
Right.
dumb. It makes no sense. But this is
Politics
this is
and
why you
money.
got to fight. Yeah, well, you got to fight it though.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Of course. Of course. Um. Well, I mean, like, do you have any questions for me? It's like, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
know.
I,
Yeah. So how did you get started? Like,
um.
tell me.
Okay. So I started when I was like 14, 15.
Are you talking about weed? I
Yeah.
thought, or a podcast? Oh,
Weed.
okay.
It all started when I was,
Okay. Yeah.
no, I'm a creative soul. This is a creative outlet for me, and I love learning things. I always say I want to get more crinkles in my brain.
Yeah.
I have a passion for people, and I have a passion for good people who are making a positive impact on our world. And I think weed helps make the world go round, honestly. And
Yeah.
if I always say, if more people smoked weed, there would be less problems,
Hell yeah.
because
Definitely.
it's seriously, it's good for mental health. It's good for just like my own peace of mind. It's just the fucking shit.
Hell yeah.
To conclude,
Hell yeah.
it's the best.
I agree. No, that sounds like a great reason to get in.
Yeah.
No, for
Uh,
sure.
um. So just please remind us where we can find you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so again, you can find me across all social media at my name, Michael Malcolm. My Instagram handle is Mike G Dagod, Mike G the God. We Travel Food everywhere else. WeTravelFood.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been
Thank
an
you so much for having me. It was awesome talking
incredible.
with you.
Oh gosh, it's
Yeah,
been an absolute honor and my absolute pleasure. You are a true gem of a human being, and I'm so glad and lucky I had the opportunity to talk to you today.
oh, thank you so much. And I cannot wait to come out there to PA. We got to get together when I come out there because
Yes.
you guys, from what I'm hearing, little birdies are telling me PA is up next.
It's
You
very
guys
ready.
are, yeah, you guys are a huge market being talked about right now. So,
Absolutely. And when you come out, you definitely have to hang out with Cynthia Me. She's a huge fangirl, so you have to say hi.
hey, Cynthia.
That was just me answering for Cynthia.
Let's hang out, Cynthia. Can't wait.
All right. Well, thanks again so much. And this episode will air tomorrow. Thursday, August 19th. Thanks again, Michael, for joining.
Thanks, Kate. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Take care. I appreciate you back. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I feel like it was so insightful. I learned so much. Michael is a true joy. Thank you so much again. Check out his Instagram and his soch. And we'll see you next week.
I know we were separated for the longest time.